G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. Dang it, door sensor work. That's not a good start. So I put a couple of door sensors on and there's a problem with them where if I kind of rush it and push myself into the doors, sometimes the doors then close on me. And now it doesn't want to do it to me again, but yeah, it's still going to make it a bit easier than having to press those tiny little buttons, especially for these industrial doors. So I've added them to a few around the place while I've been finishing up these corridors. As you can see, we now have the windows and all of these lights the same color. I went away from the blue because, well, I just didn't feel like it worked. I feel this pale yellow kind of fits in with the rest of the design a bit better. But that's probably not what you're most interested in right now. I'm guessing that a few people might want to know how I'm going to use the new DLC blocks. And generally speaking, I'm going to use them the way that I've used all of my other decorative blocks. If they suit the purpose, I'm going to use them. A lot of the blocks in the DLC pack will work really well for space stations and for spacecraft, but not so great for an Earth-like place. Like, I don't think I want those straps over me if I'm sleeping on a planet with gravity. I think I'd much rather a normal-ish looking bed. And this kitchen looks like it'd be great on a little station. It's kind of like a galley kitchen. But I'm not sure that I want to use 3 of them identically to fill in this space in here. I think I like having the bit of extra variety. So I'm basically going to use it like another mod pack. It's stuff that will work somewhere in some places and stuff that won't work in others. And one of the places where it is... Oh, stop doing that to me, doors! And one of the places where it is kind of handy is in this desk. This looks a lot more like a standard doctor's room for examination and that sort of thing than it did before with the giant HUD and console thing. I think this is a big improvement. And I'm also thinking that maybe a little planter box out here might work. Have a little bit of greenery in the doctor's waiting room. Kind of wish it was brighter because it's a bit dull, but I suppose it kind of, it makes me feel like a little bit of those fish tank sort of things. A little bit like the Finding Nemo dentist fish tank, even though it's only plants. But bringing a bit of greenery in here probably isn't a bad thing. Saying that though, I'm not going to be replacing these planter boxes in the corridor with those planter boxes because these feel like they fit this space better. I picked these ones because they fitted this space. So while I do have other options now, it doesn't mean I'm always going to be using them. Since I feel like that kind of sinks into the wall too much, it's not bright enough, it doesn't bring enough light and niceness into this space. But there's one block that is going to come in so handy when we get over to the solar axe. Because I want to build a museum there, this console block where we can project blueprints from is going to be amazing. I just totally thought of something. Oh man. If you could spin one of these. Can I fit one? Wait, are they only large grid? Dang it. They're only large grid. Oh, that's a pity. I was thinking, although I quite like the way the scanner works with its conveyor frames, if you could use a console block like this and spin it, or even have it static and moving back and forth from the piston, you could totally build a custom looking scanning array in small or large grid, and then have it display as well, and you'd be able to build something much more detailed like this representation here. Oh, that'd be fun. But really what I'm more likely to use these for is museum displays. In Survival Unlikely, I totally would have put these all over the museum with our Phytotron and with the croissant. But for here, I can now do an ugly duckling, butterball, goose front, goose rear, and do a whole bunch of different displays when we get over to the solar axe and build the museum there. Which is going to be so cool. That I am very excited about. The other thing I'm going to design because of this pack is an armory. So a space where we can have some lockers and... Did I keep the armory stuff? Yeah. and these armory lockers all in a big room so that there's a kind of ready room near the control center that's for the defense team to get geared up if they need to be. But for now, it is time for me to expand this corridor so that we can get on to building the rooms for today. I want to build a gym and an auditorium if I get time. I just remembered something that I was going to add to this that was suggested, and it is a very good idea. So with the corridors, I've always got these little bits underground, which if I popped a couple of drills in that position, I wouldn't have to mine out by hand. So I think that is definitely worth doing. So if I drill out deep enough, I should just be able to place 2 more drills down there. So I think that's pretty well centered, that block. Come down to there and then go add a drill like so. And then a little gap and another drill. That might just about do it. Maybe I'll try and get away with 2 gap. I think I can do a 2 gap with the small drills without leaving any chunks behind that I don't want to leave behind. There we go. That should save a little bit of time. Plus I get to keep those resources now rather than deleting them. Just need to add those 2 to our group. Pop you on. They're spinning. It's all looking nice, and time to extend. This was a very good suggestion. I'm very happy with this. It's just one of those little things that I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I think I just get into the habit of doing something by hand and then forget that I can
Energy critical.
Mechanize what I'm doing. I don't have to keep... Oh, that's not happy. Yeah, alright, slow down. That's better. I sometimes forget that I can mechanize things, and I really, really shouldn't. I didn't really measure out how far I'm supposed to go with this. I might want to have a look with F8. I need to go... Ooh. Wonder if maybe I should just go as far as the pistons allow me, and then I'll just use that corridor as something else so that we don't have a completely... So that we've got a bit more variety in the shape. Won't be any big harm in doing it that way, I guess. It's funny, I could have sworn everything was safe with point... Then I go and do that tutorial for making a drill rig, and all of a sudden it seems 0.4 is not safe enough. I was going to try and do the projector as this thing moves, but it doesn't really like to. So it's something I'll have to set up later and go and project out the corridor. So right now we've made it back to the main bit of the corridor. So we've got to drill that section out, and then I'll have all my corridors drilled. Then it's just building all the side rooms. Oh, I am going to need to measure this out so that I can turn the drill rig again, which will require removal of those 2 for the turning, but that's a small thing. Now I need to measure out how far the other corridor is so that I can match up to it perfectly. So I don't want to mess that up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Okay, so I drilled this little pilot hole just to ensure that I was in the right space. Plus, I think it'll make for an interesting camera angle when I bring this drill rig back, and if we run through or run around to the other side and watch the drills coming towards us. That could look kind of interesting, so I want to try that out. It's going to be basically the same process as before. Almost said a terrible pun again, saying it was the same drill as before. To rotate this thing into position, so let's get onto that. That's pretty well in position. Then I've just got to get the pistons set up. Sweet, easy. Some of you may have already noticed the stupid thing I've done in moving this around to the corner, building this whole thing up before I welded the corridor with the welders. Don't know why that came out slowly. I'm gonna have to do this whole thing by hand, or build a new rig, or move the rig back. All of those options sound horrible, but I'm gonna have to do it. Ugh. Oh well. Worst things have happened. Now I just need to line this thing up, because it is too late for me to fix my stuff up now. I got so carried away with drilling that pilot hole, I just completely forgot about the welders. It's so annoying. Drills on. Let's have a look at how this looks from the other side. No lights? Lights. I think we need lights. It's kind of cool. Seeing all those sparks. Somewhat terrifying being this close, but kind of cool. Is there a dead drill in the middle, or do I just not have a drill? Oh no, it just wasn't sparking. They just don't all always spark. Okay. Sweet. My drills... Yeah. Oh, that's why they wouldn't be sparking, because they're onto the gap that I've already drilled. And I should probably get back to the med bay so I can get some charge soon, because otherwise I'm going to start getting hurt. Much fun as I'm having with that. Looks like the pistons are fully extended. So let's go get the next lot on there. Now that I've added the underground corridor drills back in, I'm going to need to be a little bit more careful about how far I push these things. Otherwise I'm going to start drilling into my own blocks at the other end. Ooh, I got an idea. Ha! I'll have a safety shut off. This is totally it's totally unnecessary, but it's for a time lapse I want to do. So basically what I want to do is get myself standing down in the corridor underneath here. So if I drill that out a bit. I want to be in this sort of position and see how it looks as a time lapse as the drills come towards us. And in order to do that and not have to do too much calculation in terms of where stuff is, I'm going to need to have a sort of safety shut off to turn the drills off and... Well, just to turn the drills off, because I think if the drills are off, the pistons won't push hard enough to break any of the blocks. They'll just stop. So if I have this set to shut off when it detects a subgrid getting just into this range, it'll shut off the drills perfectly in time. I'm going to need some components, aren't I? So with our temporary sensor here, we can set up actions. And if we go to our groups, got our corridor drills, and on entry, shut off. Then we need to show on HUD, info, show sensors field range, and then we can set this thing up properly. Front doesn't need to be big, and that actually makes it easier for me to see everything else. Back doesn't need to be big. Top does, and top is where I need this to turn stuff off. So maybe if I make it have a little bit of a buffer zone, I'll just leave it generally like that. So now when the drills reach here, they should shut off, and hopefully that's enough range. Maybe I'll make it a little bit further. Hopefully something like this will be enough range that the drills will shut off before they damage too much of these blocks. Let's give it a go. Drills on. Let's get ready to watch this come! Barreling towards us at 0.3 meters per second. I need to turn off the show sensors field range. There we go. Oh yeah! It worked. And it was safe. Yes. Brilliant. Ah. Oh, whoops. Yeah. How do I get out of here quickly? Ow! I suppose dying would be an option, but that's not the option I want to take. Onto that finish one, doing our jobs. I just hurt myself. Only 3. And I was at 99 before, not 100, I think. Because I hurt myself somehow on the door coming out of the medical bay. So there we go. We have, if we zoom up here with our spectator cam, our corridor's drilled. Nice. Now, what I want to do is ignore the corridors for the time being. I will do them all later. What I would like to do is fix up this segment through here. So we had that problem where I backed onto the edge of the medical facility, which means I've got all of this funky bit of wall displayed. But instead of having all that out and visible, what I'm going to do is something that I've done in the multiplayer series. And I am going to place a bunch of LCD panels in here and then put one of the panoramic images on. I think that all of the images in that pack are 3 images tall, but I'm just going to check. So go into our LCD, we'll select text and images. Then, since I've added the mod, And I think we'll go for the cityscape one because it's the biggest. A city 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they're all 1, 2, 3. Okay. So for this one, I've got, I think, 12 images because it goes all the way out to L. And I'm going to start with some embedded in this wall. Just for seeing how it works. So we'll go 1, 2... Maybe the top I'll just paint black. Yeah, you definitely see more of the lower bit. So I'm going to cover the lower bit. And we'll go 2 blocks above it as well. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to place. There we go. Hopefully that's the right way up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it should work out. I don't know if this is going to be far enough back from the other wall for the illusion to work properly, but I think it'll look nice anyway as a sort of installation art piece, if nothing else. Alrighty, so that should be enough LCDs that we can get this illusion going. And it's a pretty simple process with this. It's just turn on text and images for the LCD, and then go down to City 1A, which is our top left. Add. Then go 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, etc. until you got the whole thing tiled out, and then it works pretty well. Oh man, I'm so happy with how this turned out. This works so well. It works so well. Yes. Oh man, I did not think this was even going to work half as well as it currently is. This illusion really does kind of fit. And I chose the cityscape because it's the longest one. It's the widest panorama of the images that I used. But also I thought it felt right to fake a city when we've got a beautiful countryside outside. Just, I don't know, some form of irony or something. I think it kind of felt right. If you're keen on making something like this yourself, you'll need to have an image editor with the ability to export into .dds, and there are a few text guides out there on how to do this for space engineers and how to add an alpha channel so that you can set the brightness of it. But I am definitely going to be adding more of these to the base. Well, not more of these panoramas, more LCD images. So maybe I'll get inspired and do a quick tutorial on how to put it together. It's just not it's kind of a dry topic, so it's something I haven't done yet, especially as I've been working on all of the beginner tutorials at the moment. But it is something I will consider. Well, something else I should probably look at is taking these out and putting in half thickness blocks. Maybe if I go with that, find that one out, put another one in here, this way, and then put in slabs, just so you can see a bit more of the picture. Does that work? Yeah, I think that mostly works. I'll do that for all of them. Yeah, that's a bit better. Now you can see a bit more of it. Cool, cool, cool. Now, I want to build a gym, and then maybe next time we'll do the auditorium. And I think we might be able to fit a small gym in this space here. Then the auditorium can go in behind the medical room in there. So if we have a look through the G menu, the stuff I've got for a gym, it's pretty much going to be these weight benches and showers. I don't think there's much else that I can use that's gym-like. I suppose I could have a ping pong table or two, something for a bit of aerobic fitness as well. Just as trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Trying to scrape together something that looks like physical activity. None of the new decorative blocks will really help me as gym equipment. I suppose I could... I wonder if I could use some ladders and maybe could do monkey bar sort of things, I guess. It's not that exciting. I don't think any of them would really look like a chin-up bar. I'll have to play around with that once I got a bit of space to use. But I don't think this gym's going to be very big. I'm planning on it being relatively small since, as just noted, I don't have many blocks that will work. haven't finished the roof yet is I want to do something a little bit ridiculous. I want to see if I can create a human-sized hamster wheel with small blocks. All set on a rotor so it can spin and keep pace with a running engineer, which could be really cool if I can pull it off. So we'll start with, yeah, that'll work. Then pop a rotor in there. And just switch that over to small head. And it is rotor 14. That's not the right key combination. Shift K is what I wanted. Then put another rotor on here, just a small rotor. Now I have to see if I can create a circle that's flat enough that I can run on it. That's going to be an interesting challenge. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. I should probably turn my rotor lock on so that this doesn't keep happening. I was trying to think of a way I might be able to make a treadmill, but I couldn't come up with one that wasn't enormous. So this seemed like, well, a fun alternative, even if it's not even remotely realistic to have people run on a giant wheel of death. Once you start using half blocks when trying to make curves, it often becomes very difficult to get both sides of the curve to look nice. And I've run into that exact problem here. So what I've ended up doing is doubling up my half slabs up here, then using the 2x1s, then using the 45-degree angles, back to 2x1s, back to half slabs. So it creates, at least on the inside, a reasonable curve, and on the outside it doesn't look too bad either. Hopefully, it will be a runnable surface. Alright. I can stand in here. I can at least move back and forth a little way, which is nice. That's going to help it. Make sure that this thing hopefully works. Before I go and weld the whole thing up though, I'm going to start it spinning. Rotor lock off. Velocity 1, 2. Alright, let's hop in here. Turn the other way. Let's walk. Okay, we need to go much faster than this. That's even too slow for walking pace. I could probably do some maths and work out exactly how fast I need this thing to go, but I'm just going to keep adjusting it till I get it right. Get in there. Velocity, let's go up to 20. Same deal, should just be able to jump. Yeah, now it's working. View. Look at that! I got a walking treadmill, hamster wheel thing, jig. But it's totally working. Now my engineers can work out inside. As long as they don't walk off the thing or trip, in which case they'll end up breaking their necks as they drop from the top. I'll have to fiddle around and get the speed set up right, so I'll have buttons to set the pace, possibly on the outside of this thing, and then have a sensor to turn it on once the engineer gets inside. Maybe even on a small timer delay so that you hop in and then it gives you a couple of seconds and then it starts up. Yes, this totally works. All right. I'm going to need to mess around with some scripts in order to set the speeds differently, but let's just use this button for now. Turn it on, it'll gradually accelerate. Oh, what happens if I don't? Yeah. Oh, bad camera things. Okay, it doesn't quite like it so much when I'm going this fast. It only kind of likes walking speed. I'm going to do this from spectator cam so that we stop getting flung around so badly. It looks ridiculous. Oh, I'm out. Oh, I'm crouched. That can't help. This is really hard to control from this point of view. Let me in. Okay. That's weird. Yeah, it definitely doesn't like being this fast. It kind of only works at walking speed. So I think the engineer doesn't flip in gravity fast enough for this wheel to work. When you do, let me hop out of there. Ah. when you say go from your jetpack upside down to then realign to gravity, it only has that fast it can move. So I think the wheel can only spin that fast if I'm going to stay upright. Which means I'm going to have to, unfortunately, set the hamster wheel to be walk only. Which is a pity. Let's try 18. I didn't weld up some blocks. Yay! It's a little bit slow. Maybe it needs 19. Still, that is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with how ridiculous it is, even though it only works for walking. So next time I will build the auditorium. My plan for that is to use primarily small blocks so that we can get lots and lots of seating in. So there's all that, and plenty more to come, and I will see you then.